listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast, the most listened to daily Miami Dolphins podcast on the internet.
Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest of all.
Come on, Dolphins fans. Time to fins up.
We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl. Cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number one.
Good afternoon, Miami Dolphins fans. How are you today? And thank you for listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast on this Sunday, July the 28th. I'm your host, Michael Leva, flying solo today. And on today's show, we're going to break down everything that happened at training camp, the practice on Sunday today, as well as talk about what Mike McDaniel said at his press conference. We have a player coming off the PUP list, and Tua spoke to the media for the first time this training camp, and we're going to go in depth with a lot of things he said about the contract extension and such. But before we get to any of that, today's show is brought to you by Caneswear. Caneswear is the place to go for officially licensed apparel for the Miami Dolphins, the Miami Heat, the Hurricanes, the Florida Panthers, and all of the professional and college teams in South Florida. Looking for the latest jersey, a birthday gift, or the newest hat to hit the market of your favorite South Florida team? Check out Caneswear for their overwhelming selection of sports apparel. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida, Caneswear has it all. If you don't live in South Florida, don't worry. Visit Caneswear.com to shop their inventory from the comfort of your home. And yes, they will ship internationally as well to the UK, Canada, Mexico, Spain, Brazil, Japan, China, Sweden, you name it, they'll ship. And Caneswear.com is the spot that Miami fans shop. That's Caneswear.com. Caneswear.com. Also, before we start, a big shout out to everyone listening at FinHeaven.com. Everyone go to FinHeaven.com, largest Miami Dolphins message board on the internet. And a shout out to our friends at the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, run by the great, talented, handsome, and very smart Carlos Hernandez. If you're on Facebook, please be sure you are a part of the I Am a Miami Dolphins fan Facebook page, and wherever you're listening to this podcast, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, YouTube, Audible, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button right now. We have shows each and every day of the week. Some days you're going to have multiple shows. We got a couple special guests coming up this week that you're going to want to hear from. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so when we drop a new show, it goes live to your smart device. And if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. Okay, let's start with the news. Some good news for the Miami Dolphins. Linebacker David Long was activated off the PUP list. He was back at practice today. So the Dolphins got back one of the key components of their defense. He's back at practice and no longer on PUP, so he should be ready for the start of the season. That's very good news. Mike McDaniel in his pre-practice press conference, let's go over, there's four things he said that I found interesting. He said regarding Bradley Chubb and Jaylen Phillips and where they are at this time when he was asked, he said no setbacks. That's a good thing. So far, no setbacks, but there's no time frame for the return, obviously. Mike McDaniel expected the Tua deal to get done, but he did not know prior to Friday's practice that it was close to being done on that day. Which I got more on that later. So I don't know. Let's just say I don't know if Mike McDaniel was totally truthful with that answer. But that's what he said at his pre-practice press conference on Sunday, that prior to Friday's practice, in which Tua was a full participant, he didn't know that the deal was close to being done, obviously, that same day. He said when he heard that Tua agreed to terms on a contract, when he saw him, he basically suplexed him, and he was very happy for him. And when Mike McDaniel was asked about center Aaron Brewer and the snapping issues he's had the first 3 days of practice, he said it's too early for it to be a concern yet. He said in years past it would keep him up at night, but now he goes, it's very early, so it's not a concern for him yet, because Aaron Brewer the first 3 days of practice had some issues snapping the football. After practice, Tua and his family, because he had the wife, he had the two kids, met with the media. Chris Grier was sitting on the side. Mike McDaniel was sitting on the side. It was like everyone was there for the Tua press conference after practice on Sunday. A lot of good information he shared here. Now, he had an opening state. Now, most of these things are short, but he had an opening statement that's somewhat long. So stick with me on this because I think it's worth hearing the whole thing here. There's just some good information in there. This is from Tua, his opening statement on Sunday. From the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my family's heart, I want to thank the Miami Dolphins organization. I also want to thank, because I am a true believer, I prayed about this. I prayed on it. I want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for allowing me this opportunity. I want to thank the Miami Dolphins organization. I want to thank the people that are in this room. I want to thank head coach Mike McDaniel for believing in me, for entrusting this role in me as a leader of this team. I want to thank general manager Chris Grier and senior vice president of football and business administration Brandon Short for the immense amount of pressure that they've had to go through and whatnot to get this deal done. I also want to thank the owner, Mr. Ross, for entrusting me this opportunity of leadership, for entrusting this role for me on this team, and trusting that I am the guy that's going to lead this team let me say that again, that I'm the guy that's going to lead this team to what we want to do in winning playoff games and winning championships. I also want to thank our coaches, the coaches in our room. I want to thank quarterbacks, passing game coordinator Darryl Bevel for helping me throughout this process. It hasn't been an easy process, but we've had many conversations. We've done a lot of things that's been good, a lot of things that we've needed to work on together. I'm grateful for that relationship. I also want to thank Frank Smith, our OC, in collaboration with our head coach, Mike. And I want to thank my teammates throughout this process. Those guys have been very, very supportive of me and my family throughout that. And as a player, you couldn't ask for more, especially from your guys. So looking forward to this year. I'm super excited and ready for the first question. When he was asked what this contract meant and means to him and his family, he said, "It's life-changing. I know anyone in this room would say the same thing. Words couldn't describe to me how that feels. It's unbelievable, but it's still like I'm not like going to go, hey, yeah, I got this much money. Now let me go let's go buy a private jet, Mike," speaking of Mike McDaniel, "and let's go fly to Vegas and just go use all that money." It's kind of funny. On the expectations, because when you get paid this money, expectations go up. When he was asked about that, about the expectations, Tua said, "We know heavy is the crown. So who's ever wearing that? Like right now, I'm the highest paid employee in this office. I've got to get my whatever together. I've got to get that right and get our guys moving in the right direction that we need to go to be able to do those things." So he understands when you make this much money, nobody wants to hear excuses. So very good to hear that from Tua. And last one here, when Tua was asked about Mike McDaniel, this is probably the most interesting thing he said. Tua said, "I've been told that he went to bat for me in the day that I went out and practiced Friday. He went to bat for me with our owner. I won't go into details about what is said. He did what I was thinking he'd do for me, and not just for me, but for other players." So it sounded like Friday, Mike McDaniel saw enough of Mike White, Skylar Thompson, and Hardison, and went to Mr. Ross and goes, "We got to get this done if you want any chance of winning this year." So kudos to Mike McDaniel to go into the owner and say, "Enough's enough. I can't do practice every day watching Gavin Hardison throwing to Tyreek Hill and just wasting practice time," because that's what was happening. Okay. I know it's only 2 days in July, but that's what was happening those first 2 days. It's, Skylar Thompson is hardly an NFL player, borderline at best. Mike White stinks. And Hardison, who's since been cut once he signed this deal to he'll be working at UPS in a week. It's just, not to be mean, it's just the reality of the situation. And it sounded like Mike McDaniel saw enough, went to the owner and go, "Look, we got to get this done. Enough's enough. No more playing around." So kudos to Mike McDaniel for that right there. Okay, Sunday practice notes. Let's get to this here. This is probably going to be a shorter show today. There's no more to add about Tua at this point. He signed a contract. He got paid. You're either happy with it or you're not happy with it. He met with the media today. I just read you what he said. Now it's just time to focus on football and enough of the Tua debate. I'm bored with it. I'm sick of it. It's been about a whole week of conversation, and now it's behind us. Time to turn the page and talk football on the field. So Sunday practice notes. I'm going to start about Tua, though. It was the first practice with fans, but they're still not in pads, so take everything with a grain of salt when they're not in pads. But it was the first practice with pads. The team runs out. Fans are going nuts. Tua grabs the microphone and yells to the fans, "Show me the money!" And the fans cheered and went wild like it was a rock concert. I think maybe the fans thought he was going to walk around after practice and hand them $20 bills. I don't know. They were very excited, though. And then in his press conference after practice, he did reveal that he was dared to yell, "Show me the money" on the microphone to the fans by his quarterback coach, Darrell Bevel. So that's why he took the microphone and yelled, "Show me the money." It was a dare. It was a dare. He's just having fun. It's training camp. You're allowed to have fun. And he yelled, "Show me the money" to the fans. So little inside there of he got dared by Darrell Bevel. Orange jersey today was Jeff Wilson, the running back. He wore the orange jersey. Had a minor injury at training camp. We don't know the extent of it yet, but cornerback Cam Smith exited practice early and was taken to the locker room with the help of a trainer. Could be nothing. Could be more than nothing. We don't know yet. I'm sure we'll know in the next 24 to 48 hours what's going on, the extent of this. We'll see if he practices on Monday or Tuesday. Who knows? But Cam Smith, he had to leave practice today and go to the locker room. So we'll keep an eye on that moving forward. Okay, first bit of practice notes comes from Omar Kelly of the Miami Herald. He said when the action began, Tua and the Dolphins offense took advantage of the first-team defense in this red zone specific day, meaning they not the whole practice, but this was a day where they worked on the red zone offense. So the majority of the work was red zone offense, and Tua and the Dolphins offense took advantage of the starting defense. On one play in the red zone, Tua stepped up, evaded pressure, and threw an 8-yard touchdown to Waddle. Tua also connected on a shovel pass to Achane for some respectable yards on a play in which Emmanuel Ogbah was in the backfield but couldn't slap the ball away. Braylon Sanders also scored on a toe tap touchdown in the back of the end zone on a throw from Tua. Kader Kohou got beat on a perfectly placed ball that Tua threw. Tua couldn't connect on a deep pass to Waddle in the early 11-on-11 works thanks to some tight coverage from Elijah Campbell, who broke up the pass. Mike White had one of the other touchdown passes of the session to a wide-open Tanner Conner, who continues to look very good in practice. Keep an eye on Tanner Conner. The defense had its moments, which led to 4 turnovers. Not 1, not 2, not 3. That's right, 4 turnovers from the defense. Zach Sealer deflected a pass from Tua, and Javon Holland recorded another interception off a deflection. Defensive lineman Isaiah Mack intercepted a Mike White pass that was intended for Jaquan Burton, and he ran it back into scoring territory. Undrafted rookie edge rusher Grayson Murphy forced a bad exchange between Mike White and rookie Jaylen Wright, and the defense recorded the fumble. And Ethan Bonner recovered a backward pass that Skylar Thompson threw. So those are the training camp notes from Omar Kelly of the Miami Herald. Now here's some more notes from David Furones of the Sun Sentinel. It was actually a run-heavy day of work. Jeff Wilson put on another fine performance Sunday, taking several handoffs and pitches for sizable gains. The physical runner is benefiting from shedding some pounds in the offseason. Wilson said that, yes, he has slimmed down. He confirmed that to make sure he was more nimble so he'd be able to move. Wilson said, so far it feels like it's working out for me. A highlight throw came from Tua when he found wide receiver Braylon Sanders in the back corner of the end zone. Sanders skied for the catch over Kader Kohou. Tua was intercepted, like I said, from Zach Sealer on the tip to Holland. Other Dolphins turnovers were Grayson Murphy on the fumble exchange, Isaiah Mack. We already went over those. Okay. Tua showed some agility, escaping pressure in the red zone, rolling right to find an open Jaylen Waddle. He also had a pair of flip shovel passes to Achane. One was possibly a no-look one. Tua tried to go deep a couple times in 11-on-11s. One was headed to Waddle, which was broken up, and Holland was in coverage to another one that was intended for Devon Achane. A one-on-one red zone period was highlighted by Jalen Ramsey-Jalen Waddle matchup. Ramsey got the better of the counterpart the first time, but Waddle won the pairing 2-1. So out of 3 times, Waddle won 2, Ramsey won 1, with touchdowns on the following 2 plays, including one where he left Ramsey behind him, biting the wrong way. Mike White found Tanner Conner for a touchdown, like we said. Rookie edge rusher Chop Robinson had a sack in 11-on-11. He beat tackle Keon Smith in a lineman one-on-one drill. He exploded with a great first step off the line later, but it was a run play, and he didn't seal the edge. Robinson got around fellow rookie Patrick Paul a couple times for pressure. That's the thing with Chop Robinson. His first step's so good that if he gets off the line of scrimmage, great, and into the backfield, and teams are running at him, there's going to be some long runs in his directions because he's going to be back standing by the quarterback as the running back's 10 yards downfield running wide open. That might be a problem. But he's a rookie. Again, this is time to work this stuff out. We know as an edge rusher, Chop Robinson probably have no problem acclimating to the NFL game. How he sets the edge and how he plays the run is where he's going to need some work. So it's July. This is where you get the work in. Not concerned yet. 11 on 11 drill started with Jeff Wilson breaking off a nice run up the middle. Mostert later went for a long game in a run heavy period. Saw Jaylen Wright also break off a long run. So all the running backs had some long runs today. But again, no pads. We know that. Tight end Jonnu Smith was seen going for a nice run on the outside, coming around for a handoff in the red zone. So they're in the red zone, and they ran an end around to their tight end Jonnu Smith. That's very, very interesting. Veteran defensive tackle Calais Campbell had a good-looking tackle for a loss. He and linebacker Anthony Walker Jr. made back-to-back stops at one point. Another case of penetration against the run came from fellow newcomer linebacker Jordan Brooks. When linemen did one-on-one drills, defensive tackle Deshaun Hand was seen bulldozing Liam Eichenberg and shoving him down. Now, pause here for a second. I was told that that's a nice way of saying it. David Fronis said. Others who were there said Hand just absolutely mauled Liam Eichenberg, something that should not happen when you're going into year, 4 for Liam Eichenberg, that Hand just absolutely abused him. It's one play in July. I get it. But, I mean, Liam Eichenberg might be a starter in this league. I know it's one play in July, but yikes. Undrafted rookie cornerback Storm Duck had a good pass breakup in the one-on-one setting. And star wide receiver Tyreek Hill received a maintenance day. He did not practice today. And obviously Cam Smith, as we said, walked off the practice field. Per David Ferrone, stock up, stock down. Stock up, Jeff Wilson Jr. He's now had a couple strong performances day after day. Looks more nimble at his new weight, which works well in his outside zone scheme. And he still runs with physicality. Stock down is rookie second-round pick Patrick Paul, as he struggled at times early in camp. And at one point Sunday, fellow rookie Chop Robinson got around him easily on back-to-back reps. Paul is in a position where it's a learning year for him without the expectations of starting, as Miami has a set of offensive tackles, obviously with Armstead and Austin Jackson. And it's known that Paul would be a bit of a project, and it's showing early in camp here that Patrick Paul is going to take some time to develop, possibly. Even 1 week in, it just looks a little raw, but again, not a shock. The moment we drafted him, we all knew this. So is what it is there. And that's the rundown from Sunday's practice, the press conferences. David Long's back. That's great news. And now they have now the practice schedule is a practice again Monday and Tuesday, open to the fans. And I think Wednesday's an off day. And then they're back like Thursday, Friday. I'm not sure the rest of the week, but I know they are practicing Monday and Tuesday, open to the fans. So we'll have shows Monday and Tuesday breaking down what takes place on the field. Again, the Tua talk's going to die down a bit here. We're going to focus on more of the team and what's taking place. The Tua story's behind us, so there's that. And hopefully no injuries, and everything's fine there. So far, nothing really happened injury-wise. Holland had a scare on the first day. He's fine and back. We'll see what goes on with Cam Smith here. Hopefully nothing serious. And we'll, Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb will just everyone's waiting. And I think for Chubb it's going to be a long wait, but for Jalen Phillips, we'll see. I know there's expectations and hope he's ready for week 1. I don't know if that's realistic, but let's hope. I hope I'm wrong. And he's back for week 1. So that's all for today's show. Everyone check out the website, DolphinsTalk.com, for all the latest. We got original commentary, videos, podcasts, you name it, DolphinsTalk.com. We have everything. If you're on social media, on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok and Threads, at DolphinsTalk. And again, wherever you're listening to this podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Podbean, Podchaser, or one of the other 100 platforms you're on, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. We have shows each and every day of the week. And if you're watching on YouTube, smash that like button. If you put up comments in YouTube, I'll probably respond as long as you're respectful. Some people are just like naturally jerks, I think. But if you put up a comment in our YouTube channel on our videos, odds are I will respond if it's something worth responding to. So if you want to interact that way, feel free to do that. And if you leave us a 5-star rating and a positive comment on our Apple Podcast page, I'll read it on the air. I did get a new one, and it's quite funny. So I'm going to read it. And again, it's got to be a 5-star rating. Can't be like 1 saying we suck. Leave us a 5-star rating and a positive comment on our Apple Podcast page. This is from Mark. He said, Mike, thank you for the pod. Such a treasure trove of fish news and perspective. Again, ain't me peeing on your leg and tell you it's raining, which is a line I like to say a lot. So thank you, Mark, for the 5-star rating on our Apple Podcast page. And again, if you do that, I will shout you out and read it on the air as well on one of our many shows. Everyone have a great Sunday night. Have a great Monday. If you're listening on Monday, we'll talk to you again after a while. And folks, don't forget, we must put an end to highway profanity.